Welcome to the Breathe to Heal podcast, where we're going to be talking all about breath work, spirituality, consciousness, empowering ourselves with higher levels of information, with beautiful guests from all over the world who are really out there helping others and bringing special gifts and talents to this world. I'm super excited for today's show. We have my beautiful friend Hattie Green. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Someone I've been trying to get on the show for ages is my beautiful friend Hattie Green. How are you?
I'm so good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm amazing. Hattie's success is something that I really wanted to share with everyone. She really is helping a lot of people. She's set up a beautiful program, which we can hear all about over the course of the show. So I'm very honoured to have you on. We've been trying to tie this down for a long time. We finally managed to get it done, so yeah. I'm super excited about that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at now. So for those of my viewers that may not know you, a little bit about your story.
Yeah, totally. It's always with this question, it's like, where do you start? Because like life, so much happens on the journey, doesn't it, to where you are. But I feel like, so a bit about me, my whole life everything's been geared for me towards performing. So I from very young have been a performer, and that is what I've always absolutely loved to do. But within that journey, always found myself throughout everything I kind of did in life, really, always wanting to help people, always wanting to serve. And then when I probably take you back from about just over 12 months ago, and we were in lockdown. It was all up and down in these crazy times. And I started to have just this absolute, I almost lost control, for the first time ever. And I was like, what do I even want? I was having a meltdown, an absolute meltdown of and I'm sure people can relate, because I feel like this happens not even necessarily just once in life. This is something that can happen in life. And I was like, what do I actually want to do in life? What does my journey look like? I really didn't feel in what I was currently doing at that time fulfilled, or just sort of generally happy on a day-to-day basis. And a huge part of my story, to be honest, was losing my dad as well. So that was a massive part of the journey. And since that happened, so that had happened, lockdown was happening, everything was just like this. But I got to a point where I went, I have to do something about this. What that looked like, I didn't know. And that was perfect. And that was totally fine. But I was like, I really have to do something about this. And I'm sure we'll touch on this a bit more later, but I was super into my meditation, spirituality, and everything like that, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I just decided to have a day where I just took time to be. I meditated. I just stopped, went back completely to just simplicity, stripped back, and I stopped. No connection, with social media, people. I was like, I just need that clear break, because everything was going wild in my mind. And I felt really pulled to do this. And so I was like, yeah, 100%, take action on what I felt was right. And I just had this guidance of that someone was going to come into my life, and I didn't need to know where this was going. I didn't need to know. It was just, there was going to be help on its way almost. And I just trusted that. And usually I'm quite a control. I'm like, I need to. but when you're in this sort of state where you're lost, you're not really sure on the direction, there's a surrender almost that needs to happen there. And that's what I felt pulled to. And literally the next day, Jess and Rachel, that was the Consciousness Collective at the time, reached out to me on Facebook, which was just, you know, and for me, I was like, that is the sign, you know, 100%. And literally within 2 weeks or something of chatting to them, I was in the one-to-one coaching space. And I was like, well, you know, just jumped in. I just took what I thought was right for me at that time and jumped in. And at the same time, I got another connection about actually training me to be a life coach. So this all happened around, you know, just over sort of 12 months ago. And I just ran with it because I thought, when something in my gut feels right, I trust it and I go with it. And that's what I did. So for a few months, I was in the coaching space. I was connecting with so many people, not just as a client, but also as, you know, a trainee to be a coach. And it was just a really beautiful journey. And I was just allowing whatever unfolded to unfold. And went on kind of like a long process with that. And this was another really beautiful moment, and it actually all links with spirituality and my kind of trust and faith really deepening with that, with the connection. But I had this moment again but on another level, where I needed to disconnect. And I get this every now and then. And when I say disconnect, I mean from like external world, you know, like TV, social media. And I don't know, people might again be able to resonate with this, whether they've took action on it or not. But when I feel fuzzy or feel like I really need some direction, it's that kind of cut off. I don't know if you've ever felt the same, but it's that.
Yes, totally. There's a real power with that stepping back and just being.
Yes.
Not many of us do it, but there is real power when you can just be in your own energy, you meditate, you write down exactly what you want, and you just get clear. Because when that fog of the brain is building up, and we're in this state of bit out of alignment, what we need to do, we need to come back to ourselves, because everything comes from within, right?
100%.
And you discovering that, like you've had that a couple of times, that just shows the power in that as well. You know, we get so caught up with being on social media, and half the time you end up scrolling, wasting time. Where you can, if you are actually creating and doing something, and there's when you're in the flow of creation, and you're in that alignment, everything comes to you, and there's no such thing as coincidence either. Like, you sat there, you got clear on what you wanted. This is, I need help, blah blah blah. Jess and Rachel reached out, and all of a sudden that path just unfolds for you so beautifully as well. Like, absolutely divine. So where are you at now? Obviously, that happened back in the lockdown. Obviously, I know you've had a lot of success and you're helping a lot of people. So where are you at now? What have you set up? How are you helping people now?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, just before I answer that, but touching on what you've just said, is that I feel, you know, like how you said, a lot of people don't necessarily do it or understand the power in that stripping back and just being. And it was that I feel like my conditioning has been very much, you've got to do to, are you still there?
Still here, yeah. My camera's just gone off. So
no, that's perfect. It's okay. I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, I feel like my conditioning has very much been, and through what, you know, you read and how you're brought up and that sort of thing, is that for anything to happen, for anything to progress and move forward, it's all about the doing. You know, you've got to do things all the time for things to happen, especially kind of like on a journey to success or achieving what you want to achieve. I feel like there's very much that conditioning of do. But actually, so then it took me a while to trust that strip back and the being. And that from coming from within, just purely from literally conditioning, I think, from a child. But then when you actually do it and you do strip back and you take time to just be with yourself, the insights that come, the space that you give, you know, for your mind and for your physical body, the insights that come is actually then, you know, that thing within alignment, like you said, that is going to be the thing that propels you forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that anymore. That is so spot on.
Yeah.
It really is. It's that getting that, and even asking for, when as soon as you ask for guidance, allowing that time for, it might be instant, it might be the next day, whatever, but it will come.
Yeah. And usually not usually, always, they're the insights that, you know, are the most powerful ones, that then when you take that immediate action on them, that's that unfolding for you, that journey. So I just wanted to touch on that before, because I know for me that was a massive thing, and I feel like that will resonate a lot with the audience too. But yeah, in terms of where I am now, so yeah, I had this other couple of days where I totally disconnected, and I talk about these moments because just to show how powerful, you know, the evidence of how powerful they are. But as I say, I've been connecting with loads of people globally, obviously everything really online and virtually because of the restriction with travel and stuff. And this was growing and growing, and I was learning so much from so many people. I had this day, and right towards the end, I had this incredibly powerful meditation where the idea I had to set up an event where I bring together these people that have been inspiring me, that, you know, are really powerful, to one platform and put on an event. You know, it wasn't like a business idea. It wasn't like something I thought I was going to continue. But it was just, you got to bring these people together and make an accessible platform for other people that maybe not, you know, would necessarily, if it wasn't for that, connect with these people, make an accessible platform for others to see what these people have to say, to be inspired, to be empowered. And I got it. And like I said again, when I get something that my gut is like 100%, you got to run with this, I just take action. Like, I don't even think. I literally don't think. I've never done this before. I didn't know how.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same. I get these ideas coming in, and
like,
I have to go and do it.
Yeah.
I have to do it like that day. Like, I'm not messing around, and that's a big thing for people. If you're getting these, you're getting ideas. They're being given to you for a reason.
Yeah.
And it is something that it's a gift for you.
Yeah.
And you have to take. If you don't go ahead and do this, it will be passed on to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because if you think you're not worthy enough or whatever, like, you've been given a gift for a reason. Share that gift. Go with it. Run with it. Do everything in your power to make it happen, because you never know what will come from one simple idea. Like,
yeah, exactly. And usually that when you do wait on an idea, that time in between waiting and doing it, you have, you know, everything that mind comes in of all the questions, you know, why should, you know, all of that maybe uncertainty or doubt within yourself. Whereas when you just take that immediate, let's go, run with it, you don't have time to talk yourself out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, don't worry about the how.
Just run. And I've learned that so much through taking that immediate action. Is like, well, I don't know how. You know, these are new things that you pursue or jump into. You're not meant to know how. The journey shows
learning
on the journey
and the development. As everything unfolds for you, you're going to learn things, and if you don't know it, go and learn it. And it just, that is how you grow and develop on your spiritual journey. It is 100%.
That's it.
Like, our own responsibility to make things happen. Like, if we have dreams and desires or anything that can empower us and other people so we can be of service, that's the highest level of of spirituality there is, really, because then you're being of service.
Yeah, it's beautiful. 100%. So I took this action on this idea of an event, bringing people together, and I chose a few people from literally all over the world and gone, I'd love you to come on this platform. It's a one-off thing, whatever. And in 2 weeks, I'd put the event on, had 100 people from all over the world on that event, did it online, literally within 2 weeks of having the idea to actually making it happen. And I got people, kindly people helped me along the way that, if I didn't know how to do something like set up, like the practical things like set up payment links or all of that, I just went, I don't know, but I want this to happen like this. Okay, this person knows, reach out to them, they can help me, always ask for help. So I did that. And then I was like, this is something, this is like, I have to do something with this. I want to, and I have to. And it sort of brought out that performer side in me as well, because that hosting, I'm always on the events and I love the talking, the hosting, and that side of it. So it's really bringing together. And it was really bringing together the love of what I've done all my life in performing, but also that value, knowledge that I have, and giving that to other people and being, of service to others too within this space. So I did that. And then by the time that had happened, I'd also completed this course that I was doing, and the training I was doing to be a coach myself too. So I was like, this is a business. And I'd already thought of the name Embrace Your Power. So that's what the business is called, Embrace Your Power. Because I feel like that in itself, it means something different to everybody. And it's that, what is that uniquely for you? Everyone, and it goes back to everything's from within. Everything. So embrace what that authentically, uniquely is in you, and and share that with the world and show up as that. So that's embrace your power. And so from there, the journey has just developed with this business. So I continue doing the events each month, the online, and they're still virtual. They'll progress as well to be doing in-person ones, but at the moment I'm just loving that virtual. There's a really good momentum to that. So we've got the virtual events, and then the one-to-one coaching space with me, and then we've also now got a membership program. So it's called the EYP VIP membership program, and it's a monthly membership, again just super accessible to all, which includes the events, like blast training sessions that I do, but also within that, a community of like-minded people where you have access to that support and accountability within a community space of all the members. So that's why I wanted to bring that, because I know for myself, being part of a community and having that support and accountability from so many like-minded people really helps with continuing on the journey. Because obviously the journey is like this, is what I feel like, but it does that, and that's always my visual for life journey, really. When you're kind of pursuing what it is you want to pursue, it's this 100%. You're always evolving, growing, learning, but it definitely for me does this. There's ups, there's downs, and that's the beauty of it. But when you're surrounded by those people, it just makes it so much more light and easy. And so I wanted to provide that as a space within Embrace Your Power. So I literally launched that, this month. So that's growing and evolving in itself right now. So that's really exciting too. Yeah.
Amazing, most inspired action.
Yeah.
It's pure inspired action. And when you do that, you just elevate so quick.
Yeah.
Like, as you're saying, the journey might be a bit of a roller coaster, might be up, might be down, but the more tools you learn and the more you are doing this sort of work that you offer, is that when you do have that dip, the big things become small things, and you just get through things a lot easier. So you're up on that.
Yeah.
You're elevating a lot quicker than you would normally, like you would have done 3-4 years ago, because you've learned more, you've grown more. And
Yeah.
it's just, and then all of a sudden it just smooths out, and it's not such a big dip no more, and all of a sudden it just gets
Yeah. Oh,
a little bit easier, a
definitely.
little bit easier, a little bit easier. And so everything is always about learning. We should never stop learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I've massively learnt from, I'm always a client of the coaching space too, because I value it so much and it's so powerful. But one thing I've really learned is there's like a soul line and a goal line, and it's when you evolve these together. I really believe there's that fulfillment, happiness within your life, when it's not just that go, 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 do, 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 which I was that 100%. I was like sitting in that masculine energy on another level all the time. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, go, 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 do, 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 which was okay. But then, there was a lot missing, within that. So now really developing the both, I feel like that really brings that sort of just consistent fulfillment, and just generally so much more happier on a day to day, because I'm learning, and I'm still on this journey as an individual 100%, but learning to love what is, and love what is within the journey, within, as the goal line, grows and the soul line go, just learning to love what is. You're always gonna have that fulfillment no matter what occurs within the journey that you're on.
Of course, and soul fulfillment is so powerful when you actually are in alignment with your soul journey and your
Mhm.
mission and your purpose of why you're here, and discovering that. Like some people I know, like some of my clients are like, I just don't know what my purpose is, don't know what this is. Well, if anyone's ever going through that, you don't know, your purpose is to help and serve people.
Mhm.
That's all. Yes, all. Yes. As soon as you start doing that, you will become more happy and fulfilled.
Yeah.
And the fact that the way you're doing it is with the community. Community is so strong right now.
Yeah.
Because we all had that lockdown thing taken away from
Yeah.
everyone. Bringing people together now in this community and unity, where we can help each other, support each other,
Yeah.
we grow together, we just connect, and
Mm.
we just become like a real tight unit.
Mm.
And your soul will naturally align with certain people who you are here to help, or they're here to help you. And everyone's a teacher for us. Everyone's here to help us grow and evolve as well. Some people, we might not like everyone, but they'll definitely give us growth.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
And the fact, I just really like the way you've set this up. Like it was just that idea, boom, go there. Now you set up this VIP section with this,
Mm.
so everyone can really be part of that community, be part of something. And
That's it.
when you have that, I'm part of something. That just excites you, especially with um, people all on the same path.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I'm the same as you. I'm always learning. Like
Yes.
I'm always in communities. I'm always doing coaching and learning myself. And you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
never know who's going to inspire you to do more action. So
Yeah.
sometimes I look at people, and even yourself, I see how successful you are, and I'm like, it inspires me so much to see what you're doing, and that's how
Exactly the same with you. Yes, 100%. Yeah. I
I'm
was gonna say
always
actually,
looking and
yeah.
watching and going, what's she doing now?
Yeah,
Like,
I was gonna say the same, and on what you said about, how you come across and connect with people that are like-minded, that are on that similar journey of evolution and growth, and that's exactly how we connected, within community as well. You coming in to the community I'm a part of, and speaking, but within that, and then we follow each other, we connect, we talk, we grow, we become friends, and
yeah,
that is so beautiful. And you're so right, you almost become just a part of something, and that's how it evolved with Embrace Your Power. This idea of the membership was it was almost evolving into a community anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like this similar people would come on the events, they would tell a friend, they would come too, they'd come to the sessions, it would grow and grow. And I was like, well, let's actually make this a thing. You know, let's make this a thing. And yes, it evolved exactly like that. So
it's so simple as well, but it's so
yeah,
powerful. Sometimes the most simple things are the most powerful.
definitely.
You know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. We don't have to try and overcomplicate things. Again, going back to what you said at the beginning, taking that step back, having a look at things from a different perspectives, and really just allowing our soul's journey and mission to really come into play.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being allowed to express ourselves and talk, and and really into the things that we love. So the more you talk about things you love, the more you are in alignment with that purpose, what happens? You're manifesting, and you get more of it.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly it. Definitely. And what's really interesting is even just me, talking my journey and story out loud today has actually really highlighted, which I didn't even realize for myself that it would, but how those moments, each almost powerful moment, big moment, has come from the stripping back, has come from the disconnect of, from when my mind's felt a certain way and then gone, I'm going to be with myself. And whatever connection and guidance and insights and ideas come from that, there's no expectation of that. But just going into that place is when those ideas and those, the powerful things have come to me that I've took action on within that space. And that's been actually really highlighted within what we've spoke about today. And just that journey is exactly that. So yeah, it's a nice reminder for myself.
Of course, your passion's really coming through as well. When you're passionate about something, you get inspired and then you get passionate about it. When you speak to people, like when people hear this, I hope people really take this and go, oh my God, she's so passionate. I really want to be part of that as well. Because then that passion will come through to you. You get inspired, and you will literally transform.
Yeah, 100%.
Transform with that passion and coming from that heart space, which you clearly are.
Yeah.
That is where we need to be right now, in that heart space, passionate about our gifts, our talents, and bringing things into the world. 2022 for me is going to be such a empowering year, self-empowering year, where we really bring our gifts and talents to the world, which is what we're doing. So it's very, very beautiful.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I feel like on that journey, obviously, I spoke actually a lot today about how that's developed within what I've then created as business, but all aspects of my life have changed within doing that. Each aspect, not just that work, business line that I've gone down, it's how I am as a person, how much more open, honest and vulnerable I am as a person, how much feel like I'm so much more full of love and giving of love, and allowing to receive the love too, and all of that has been just as much of that journey as the ideas that have come in to take action on for business. But it's not, just that. And I think that's really important to highlight too. It's each aspect of being, that going on this journey and being willing to look within and grow and evolve just helps with all of those things.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned the word there, vulnerable. Vulnerability there's power in that when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. Especially if you're in that community thing as well, that really allows you to express yourself, and there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. If you need help and things like this, like as you said, you're setting up, I didn't know how to do this, but I went and asked for help. And I got it. So don't ever be frightened to say, I need help, and
100%.
have that vulnerable side to you, because when you are vulnerable, you're being real as well. Right?
Definitely. And I feel conditioning again, going back to the do hard work bit again, conditioning with vulnerability. I can't speak for anyone else, but I personally had the perception it was weak, just from what I've been conditioned and taught. But actually, the more vulnerable and open I've been, the more that's been created, the more powerfully things have happened. And even relationships have really grown and built and become even stronger through vulnerability. There's a saying within the community I'm in with Next Level Life: vulnerability is badass, and 100%. I feel that now. Vulnerability is badass, and definitely, and like you said, you're coming from a space of truth when it's from that vulnerability, and it's actually strength. That and so yeah, that I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. There's nothing wrong with it. So whenever it comes now down to self-worth and self-love, of if I'm in a space where I'm trying to create something, I've had this idea, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I ain't got a clue what I'm doing.
I resonate so much with what mate.
But I've got this idea. It's okay to be vulnerable and ask for help and have that self-worth of get your ego out of the way. Ego is there to edge God out. That's the thing, right?
Yes,
your connection.
I heard you say that before. I love that.
And your source connection, which is why we're all here on this spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
Getting rid of the ego, right? The ego for me is when things come up, I have a little saying, thank you, ego. It doesn't lie with who I am and who I want to become.
Beautiful.
Thank you, goodbye, and move on. So when the thoughts of the mind come up, and you have these negative things coming through, which we all experience, we all have it, we're all human. And they're coming up to be clear. They're not coming up to beat you up. They're not coming up to hold you back. So if people are experiencing something like this, what would you personally do as a coach, or whatever? How would you guide people to clear that energy?
Yeah, I do a lot of work with the negative thoughts, because I've done this myself personally as well, because it's surprising. I surprised myself how many negative thoughts there were, and I've done this work myself a few times actually, and I go through a process of, and this is something as well I would do. One of the things I do with clients is for a few days, usually sort of 7 days in a row. And it's not necessarily an amazing experience feeling it, but it gets to that afterwards. Yeah. But writing down all those negative thoughts that come up throughout the day, actually highlighting them. And it's really surprising when you do how many, even it could just be, for me, a thought came up so much of I really can't be bothered to do the washing. Just things like that just, I feel tired today. I feel just things like this, or frustrated at a driver on the road, just all these things that are happening in my mind. No wonder I felt tired. No wonder I felt exhausted, and so that's the process. The first kind of step in itself is to actually be aware. I think awareness in everything is the start. Expanding your awareness is so, like you said, so powerful, because you actually recognize where you're at, and that's perfect. There's no judgment within this work in any way, shape, or form. No judgment in any work, but it's just writing these down as they come up and as they are, and that's perfect. That's fine. Putting them down, they're there for a reason. They're coming up, they're here. Let's work on them. And so then I go through work on these negative thoughts, and it's so interesting what may seem simple thought that comes into your head in the day is actually linked to, and there's something there. But then being aware and being willing to do that work actually then we can change that and find the truth within what that is, and then go, well, my new truth is, go into that, what's the new truth, and then that is what we can start to recondition on that thought, what the truth is, what the vulnerability, and work with that rather than what's coming through as a result of it, if that makes sense. So so that's what I've done and what I work with clients on as well. It's just, then you feel after that work so much lighter. So many of those kind of old beliefs that don't necessarily serve you are starting to be reframed, reconditioned. And it's really powerful work. I mean, it's work, but it's really powerful as you go through the journey and then, the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. There's power in writing things down.
Yeah.
When you journal and you put pen to paper, it's actually like a release from the body. It allows you to release it, allows it to get it out. And then you can also go back and look at it and go, how was I feeling? And why was I feeling like that? Like, so simple. But as you said, creating that new story.
Yes.
So if we're in a continuous story, the neurons in the brain fire a certain way. So what happens is it keeps firing, and we create certain pathways in the brain. So if we want to create a new story, we have to change that pathway. We have to change them neurons, right? So we create a new story, we write it down exactly what we want. Keep reading it, speaking it out loud, embodying it. You have to reprogram the subconscious mind, right?
Yeah.
And again, this comes down to doing that work. This is why I love breath work so much, because when you breathe, you constantly change the pattern in the brain, which means you can create a new story very quickly.
Yeah, wow.
When you change your pattern of your breathing, you change the chemistry, and you can change your neurons firing and wiring in a certain way. So people with anxiety, depression, going through the mill, stress, worry, they're firing certain ways at the moment. So if you go and change your breathing pattern, you will change that chemistry in the brain, and you will change and you can change the story. I've literally seen people who had depression for 20 years come to me, anxiety, stress, worry. Years and years and years, change their breathing pattern, simple tweak of their breathing, completely changed everything.
It's wild.
Yeah, and never ever gone back to that old story. They've created a new story, and then they're creating even better stories, and they're creating even better stories. And the evolution of their mind and their programming now is just, their conditioning is changing and evolving and growing day by day now.
And it's beautiful work. It's like, it's such an amazing journey to go on, and I feel like, and it's got to come from that person initially, to be willing to do the work.
Yeah, they've got to want to do it. If you don't want to, if you're not willing to do the work, you won't change.
Yeah, but I would say, and for anyone that watches and listens, like, if you are willing, again, it links back to a lot of what we said, but if you are willing, take the action. Maybe this is your sign to go, okay, I'm willing, let's go now. What is the action? Open that vulnerability. I want help with this, and boom, you're on that journey then. And it's incredible. And what I found is, as well, through that journey, and I mean, it doesn't stop, it's that amazing, it keeps going, that evolution keeps going, and the stories that are created through it, us having this conversation today, that's all beautiful things that have happened, that then are stories that we can tell, and we can inspire, and we can empower people through. And those stories are incredible. So even when things happen, the externally that I didn't realize would, or that have knocked me or whatever, well, actually, it's the next part of the story that I'm going to tell, and that's beautiful within itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Take this day, this very moment. So we have this right here, right now. Take this now as an empty chapter in the book.
Yeah.
What chapter are you going to write next? Do you want to write the same story as the last chapter, or do you want to write a new story of something beautiful, filled with love and joy and happiness and fulfillment?
Yeah.
And raising our vibration and our consciousness into the highest version that we can be. That's all we've got empty pages, blank book, go and write it.
Yeah, and the beauty with that is that you have the absolute choice to create that. You have the absolute choice to create that. It's like you said earlier, it's the 100% responsibility. And we have that. And that is actually that's powerful because you can choose what's next. And I love that.
Yeah, exactly. There is our past, Les Brown always says our past doesn't determine our future, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Definitely.
That's one of my favourite sayings.
Yeah, I love it.
I remember hearing that years and years ago, about 10 years ago, something, and I was like, it's just...
And it went boom.
blew my mind. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The past doesn't determine your future.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think we should talk a little about meditation, consciousness as well. I'd love to delve into what's your practice, what do you do, any tips for the viewers. Some people might be new to it, some people might just be discovering it, it might just be a little bit onto their journey, or they might be advanced. What's your daily practice? I know you're very, very connected.
Yeah.
And I know how connected you are. So any tips and advice for doing the meditation?
100%. Yeah. So a massive thing for me. So right at the beginning, when I started to meditate, when it was quite a new thing for me, I had this perception that I had to, I had expectation with the meditation, right? I was going to see all these things, or something was going to come to me, or I don't know. I always had expectation going into a meditation, and that didn't always happen. Sometimes, I did have beautiful visions and things like that, and sometimes absolutely nothing. But what I would, and sometimes thoughts, and even now, every now and then I have thoughts that come through. I'm sat there and I'm like, and then I just keep having thoughts and thoughts and thoughts. But I've learned, like, whatever happens within that minute, there isn't a one way. There isn't a particular thing that should happen. There's nothing like that. They just completely go into that space with no expectation, and whatever happens is beautiful. If thoughts come in, watch them come and then watch them go, and that's fine in itself. 100%. And this is it. And if you feel like nothing's happening, well, then there's internal work going on, and that's beautiful. So I think my first thing would be to just really allow whatever in that space, whether it be 5 minutes, whether it be 45, however long you want to spend in that time of being, to, as you said, be the observer. And there's no should or shouldn't, there's no right or wrong within the space. Completely release the judgment of that, and just allow whatever to happen. That's the first thing I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, meditation and breath work is a daily practice. It's nice, non-negotiable for me.
You love that, non-negotiable.
As soon as I wake up in the morning, I have my meditation, I do my class, and then I'll have maybe another one through the day, and obviously I'm working with clients and stuff through the day, so I'm always doing it. But for me, my own personal spiritual practice is non-negotiable.
Yeah. And like you said, that daily practice is then, for me, it is that grounding as well. Space for the mind, just totally ground myself. But then also, so, there's that daily practice, definitely. And then again, as you kind of heard, on the journey and story as well throughout this whole time, is that there are times every now and then when I do totally, that's almost like a daily thing, and that's like, another level. I'm not saying you have to do that for a daily, but there is that time when I take, and it might be a meditation in, I do that how I normally would, but then walking out in nature, but with nothing, and then sitting in nature, and it's those sort of things too. So when I say a day, it's just more that disconnect and being that in that space of being, rather than flooded with social media and external things. So that's part of, as well as the daily practice. I'd say every now and then I do that as well.
Yes, it's really powerful. What's your morning routine?
In the morning. So that has changed for me because my life, and I think this is actually really important too. I was frustrated at myself for a while because my routine wasn't what it was at one point, and then it changed to the next thing. And it's as my environments have changed, I've learned to adapt whatever that is, for me at that time. So it would be, I used to do a full set, and I'll talk about each actually, because I think it helps people to see how it can adapt to where you are or what you're doing. So it used to be when I lived on my own and I had totally my own space and this was perfect, and I would do a full, I'd wake up in the morning and it'd be a couple of hours. I'd wake up in the morning and if I was going to anything, I'd just make sure I got up earlier. You create the time. If it's important to you, if it's a non-negotiable, you create the time, right? So I got up earlier, and I actually would go, and first thing I would do is I'd have like a hot drink and I'd journal. A lot of what I do would be journaling. Within that, writing gratitude, intention. I do that as well now. First thing, gratitude, intention, goals as well that I have for the day. And that just sort of sets my mindset for the day. It's like that trajectory for the day of where I'm at, awareness, growing the awareness as I've woke up, but in a really sort of calm space for myself. And then I would always have a bath, and I do my meditation in that way. Or if it was nice outside, I'd actually sit in the garden, do it that way. So that would be an always morning thing. And then I'd also go to an audio. So there was quite a really sort of specific routine I would do within a couple of hours. And I'd really take my time because I didn't want to rush in the morning. I felt like just being slow in the morning was nice for me. And everyone is totally different, and that's perfect. But then as I moved, so I went from that environment to then an environment where I lived with a partner and he has children. So it totally switched up the environment, completely different.
Yeah.
And, and I didn't, it's completely different. And I, for a while, didn't even have a morning routine. I'd still do all the things that I knew served me, but it wasn't as I did it before. I had to find time within the space and it took a while for that transition. And again, that was perfect because it was part of that transition and part of that journey. Whereas now I've really found that sort of what works within that space. So I still do my gratitude. I still do it all, but maybe just in a different routine. So sometimes it's split. So in the morning when I first wake up, it's that journaling, the intention, the gratitude, the goals. And then when I'm then back on, on my own in the house, I then will do the meditation, or I might get out and go for a walk and do it that way. So it's about adapting as well to what serves you still, but also within the environments and routine. And I just wanted to say both because it shows that wherever you're at in life or whatever the routine or environment that you're in, you can create the space and the time to do the practices and the things that serve you. Even if it takes a little while to adjust to that, that's perfect. And that it's always doable.
Well, so it's just little tweaks.
100%, yeah.
Little tweaks.
Yeah.
And just keep doing as you said. And if your environment changes like you did, that's a big change as well.
Yeah.
Going from living on your own to a partner who's got children, and it's like from that environment completely thrown out the window what you're used to.
Yeah, 100%. It is completely different. And I did, totally honestly I got frustrated in myself that I wasn't in that same routine. But it's like, well, of course not. Of course I wasn't.
I don't expect.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And that's amazing. And then it just takes time in that transition to do. But I think but I did see the difference when I wasn't consistent. Within that transition, there wasn't a consistency. That's where the frustration came. And when I wasn't consistent with my morning practice and even an evening practice too, and taking that time to be, I was totally in a different frame of mind. You know, I didn't feel as settled. I didn't feel as grounded or connected. And I think that's really powerful to be aware of as well and say. And so then when I got back into the flow, you know, everything, it's just a journey, isn't it? As I say, it's a journey, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So to finish off, what is your tip for life right now?
Tip for life right now.
Yeah, tip for life right now. And then how can people connect with you? Get onto your courses if they want to go to your courses.
Yeah, I'd say 2 things for tip for life right now, and 2 things, you know, that just literally come. What are the first things that come to me? I always trust that. So the first thing is allowing to love what is throughout your day, and bringing, if you've never heard that before, hearing me say that and coming back to that. You know, throughout the day, if something's happening or something external or whatever, love what is. Love what is, you know, and that's just a beautiful thing to remember throughout the day. And the other one, which I'm actually doing a talk on in London on Wednesday, is living life through celebration. So just a really simple thing on that is that what can you do today? So for anyone that watches this, what can you do today to celebrate you, to acknowledge yourself today? So that's another tip as well. So they're my 2 things that come to me straight away. And then in terms of getting in touch with me, I've got my own Instagram, which is Hattie Green Parker. I've got the Embrace Your Power Instagram, which is the Embrace Your Power Global. That's what it's called. And then there's also a website as well, which is eypglobal.co.uk. So they're literally just a few ways of getting in touch and, you know, connect with me, you know, get in touch. And I'd love to hear and connect with so many more people.
Yeah, well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm so grateful for you and your beautiful energy. You've brought so much fun to this, and I hope everyone's got value from this beautiful podcast. Thank you, Hattie Green. I love you all, and
thank you so much.
Beautiful day. Go and celebrate yourself, everyone. We will see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much, and for having me on as well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Download our app today for daily breathwork and meditation classes. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Lots of love and respect. See you soon. Bye-bye.